All right, back out here again. We're getting a lot of questions about the alternator ordeal we've been running into, where, as you seen in the last video, it smacks the block, doesn't go up tight against the mounting pad where it needs to be. Like right here goes the body. So I looked online. The Mazda, I guess there's Speed 3 right there, alternator. Looks like the pads go out further on these. So originally, I was just going to put a Mazda alternator on this block since it's an MZR block. So I priced it out. And it being almost $300, I said, yeah, I don't think so. I'll make what I got work because there's nothing wrong with this. Then not only that, then you have to deal with the ordeal of is the connectors the same, which the main lug obviously will be. They're all the same. But for like the regulator, it's a 3-pin. It's hard to tell what's a Mazda. I don't know because they didn't even have it in stock. So what I am going to do is get my measurement of what I need as far as a stand. I'm just bushing this thing out, whatever I need it, and I will go over there and get them. And if I have to, I'll cut them down and make them work. All you gotta do is right here. We know it hits the body right there. You don't want it laying against the block, obviously. So if you're going to shim this thing out, what we want to do is get it away from the block enough, right there. Want to give us a little wiggle room there in that block. And we're coming out at 1/2 inch. So we get 1/2 inch bushings or something, like I said, something close to it. So this way, it will space this whole thing out 1/2 inch. All right. So I already measured it before. I already knew what I needed. So I ran over the old handy dandy Lowe's real quick. I got 3 M8 125 by 60 bolts. So that's the same thread pitch that you need on that. The closest they had as far as the bushings go right here, the little steel bushing, was 1 inch long. So you can take and cut them down, which is what I'll probably end up doing, the length I need. And then if they have 5/16 one, that'd be the closest one to that because they mate. But all you're gonna do is you're gonna take that spacer, just like that. You're gonna put it in between the alternator and the block. But like I said, I'm gonna cut these down to length because they're too long because they're 1 inch. So let me cut those down, mount this thing up, and then we'll see what it looks like. And then we'll get a measurement on our belt because we know the belt's probably gonna be a different length because the alternator's coming out away from the block. So let me get these right here cut where I need, and then we'll mount this puppy up real quick and we'll see what happens. And it should work. I hope it works. Anyway, how's that sound? But I think it will. All right, we're back. So, got this thing ready to go on there. Obviously, you got to take your little back stud out. You're not going to use that anymore. So, might be a little bit more of a pain to get it to go on there just because. I don't know why. I don't know why that one seems like it's super long. That bolt. Getting old here. All right. Who can do it? Here you go. You line up in there. Here's that one. And one more. Right there. All right. If you'll line up. Are you going to line up for me? So like I said, lining up's probably going to be a little bit more of a pain just because you don't have that stud to guide it off of. Not that that's a real biggie, but you can do it. And then we just got to make sure we have all the clearance we need. And then we should be good to go. I don't think line it up is going to be quite this much of a pain in the butt, but it is. And you're still in there, right? Yep, you're still in there. You're not in there. Now, let's see. There we go. Get your booty hole in there. Come on. There we go. Where you at? Yeah, line it up's a little bit more fun than what it is from the factory, but it's going to save you $300 or whatever price alternator is going to be at around your area. I can deal with an extra couple minutes there of lining it up and call it a day. I don't want to tighten them up yet until I make sure everything's gonna line up nicely. Right? I think it is. That top bolt, I don't know why it seems like it's so much longer than all the rest of them. But all of them are the same length. And if we get her down tight, put a washer on probably wouldn't hurt either. Just on the face there, I probably should have put a washer on it. Oh well, I'll give her a dry run and I'll take it back off. I'll put washers on it. Put a nice little flat washer on there or something. All right, there you go. She's all snug down now. I mean, that's not going anywhere. And I have plenty of clearance in my block in the back of the alternator, so it's not going to rub there. And like I said, the only difference now is I got to change the belt. Everything is lined up. I mean, it's in factory location, so it's not like this alternator moves forward, back. That was another thing I was kind of worried about putting a Mazda on here is what if the mounting pads are in or out a little more, because then it's going to knock your belt alignment off. And slinging belts is a major pain, as anybody knows. All right. Now I got to measure for the belt. Let me do that real quick, which I do mine the old cheapy way, hillbilly way, whatever you want to call it. Usually I try to get a belt that's too long. This is the factory belt right here. So if I get a belt that's too long, it makes it easier. You can just take vice grips and clamp the belt where you want it, the length, and take that with you. But I don't think that's gonna. I know it's not gonna work because I don't have a belt that's too long. We'll see how much too short this one is. I can remember where I put my wrench. Any day now. Right there it is. It actually has like a 3/8 in the back, but I'll just use a wrench. It's quicker for me and easier. There we go. Run this where it needs to be. Like so. There you go. See how much of a difference we need in the belt. We'll start with 1 inch longer than what we got going on. See what happens. You can always run a string around it too, and then measure the string. But I think maybe a 1 inch in there. We're gonna try that. All right, we'll run over and get a belt. I'll be back. We'll see if that's gonna work or not. Of course, this don't have not a one number on it, but it will. I can just look up factory belt for it and go 1 inch longer. See what happens. We are back. I made me a makeshift belt here, if I can find it. To get my length, let's cut out what I need and taped in a piece of old belt I had laying around. Easiest way to do it. Now I ran over to Advance, went through 2 wrong belts. So ended up going to AutoZone. That belt worked. Duralast 550 K4. So that worked. but using the stands on the alternator of what I've done. So she is finally ready to drop in now. Because I got that dilemma fixed, and in the process of it, I also fixed the oil feed line to the turbo that I was talking about in the last video. Had a block right here, the webbing on it was sticking out too far, so my banjo wouldn't go. So what I ended up doing, ground the block down flat on the bottom side, so I could get that banjo to fit flush against the little copper O-rings. Took my line, I got a longer feed line, ran it underneath the AC bracket that they give you now. Because I got thinking about the whole, you know what I mean, stepping it out and putting the magnet down. I was kind of afraid the compressor would be in the way and the lines. So I was like, you know what, let's just do this. It's aluminum block. Then when you took off of it, it's not gonna hurt anything. So that right there is that done. And that one coolant line from this right here, I'm gonna block it off, like I said, because this block, it has a provision right here, but it's way bigger than the other one. And that looks like it's Loctite in there. So I'm leaving it. Let's block it off. The only thing I figure is for burping purposes of the coolant to help it burp. We'll make it burp. So, but that right there lets you know how you can put the stock Ford alternator back on the MZR block. Yep, that was one tidbit of information I didn't know about. So we may do that, right? Like I say, grind that down if you have to, if you got a banjo. Put this up on stands, which you can get all that junk at Lowe's. Cost me $8.27 for the hardware and stands. I think so I got in it. Belt was like $21 or something. So, hell of a lot cheaper than a $300 alternator that may or may not work with your wiring, which you may have to put a new pigtail on it, rewire it. I'd much rather do this route. It's a little bit, not real time consuming, but it's a little bit, which they didn't have that in stock anyhow, so you had to wait a couple days. But she's gonna be beautiful. That's a good mating spot for it. It's not going anywhere, the alternator's not. It's, like I said, you got them stands, you got it clamped down. It's no different than it being clamped down on the block and the same little pads. It's not hurting anything. So, let's get this thing in there on the next video. So watch out for that one, because that's gonna be me putting this in there, firing it up, and hoping all goes well. And it runs good. Yeah. But we all know how our luck's been on this car. All right, let's get this thing in there and see if we can't make her, you know, pretty far. Get her going. All right, watch out for the next video. They said it'd be me dropping her in there, possibly, maybe. Firing it up, or crying when it's knocking, or jumps time. There's your rod. I don't know. Could do anything. All of the above, it could do. It's hard to tell.